Hey guys. All right, so welcome to Comparative Religion. Here you are, end of the year, last thing. Yes. Okay, so here's what I've got in this folder today. Step one, we're going to talk through just kind of like the rollout of the unit, like what's in it, what you have to do, how do I ace this test you're talking about, right? And then I'm going to get into the content, like what is religious literacy? So, first thing I'm going to need you guys to do, if you haven't already, go ahead and open up the assignment sheet and copy the cheat sheet link into your Google Drive. So here's how you do that, just in case you couldn't quite figure it out. Oh, come on, Escape, don't fail me now. Anyway, so yeah, just gonna pop on over to Schoology, papaya, right? Here is the comparative religion like folder, and I know that looks like a lot, but the lists are really just me lecturing and then anything supplemental. So sweet. First thing you're gonna want is the assignment sheet. Boop. Takes forever to load because of course it does. Internet. All right, sweet. Well, I can't read it being that little, so let's go ahead and full screen it, yeah? No. So, comparative religion. All right, so the United States has become a nation of deeply faithful religious illiterates. What a travesty it is when those without faith know the most about it. This is a quote from Stephen Prothero. Prothero? Unclear. Anyway, he wrote a really famous book in 2008 called Religious Literacy, and in it he talks a lot about how in the United States people are really, really religious, but they don't know a lot about religion. So what do we do? Well, all right, so the United States, like I mentioned, is one of the most religious places on earth. It's also a nation that honestly knows very little about religion. Like, only 10% of American teenagers can name all 5 major world religions. Stop, take a pause. How many can you think of? Right. 15% can't name any. So if right now you're like, don't worry, that's kind of a lot of you. And we're going to fix that. Finger guns. Nothing cooler than finger guns. Anyway. So 2/3 of Americans think that the Bible has all of the answers to life's big questions, but only half of American adults can name even one of the 4 Gospels. Then most Americans can't name the first book of the Bible. That's pretty bad when we talk about Christianity, but Americans know even less about non-Christian religions. Despite the lack of basic knowledge, politicians totally use that to make decisions and laws, and they use it to win these arguments. The vast majority of Americans don't understand the religious texts and practices that these laws and policies are based on. So here's what we're up to, right? This unit exists to get you the basic information on faiths necessary to just navigate the world, right? So you're going to complete each of the lecture folders, this cool list here, right? And drop those things in to the cheat sheet I gave you, right? So it's like name of faith and things. As you walk through, you'll drop those in. For things that aren't directly faiths, just go ahead and leave yourself some notes at the bottom. The cool part about these is that when you're done, you'll have like a one stop where you can like just kind of control F and find everything that we talked about in this course and therefore ace the test, which would be pretty sweet. Rock. So some of the folders have like little supplemental readings or outside videos because the screencaster doesn't record the audio if I try to show you a video. So my video editor, not that good. Maybe next year. Anyway, once you finish, go ahead, go through your cheat sheet, study guide, and just open it in another tab and ace out of that test. Hell yes. So here's the lecture list in order. right? Got religious literacy. What does freedom of religion mean? Shamanism, animism, and the evolution of religion. The Vedic traditions, Buddhism and Chinese traditional religions. Monotheisms, the big boys, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, Sikhism. Yeah, well, those are early monotheisms. Then we have the big boys, that's Christianity and Islam. Then we have a lesson on small faiths, just minority religions, which have like smaller believer bases. Cool beans. So, down at the very bottom here, this is literally just a list of all of the ideas I put on the test. Yeah? It's roughly 40 questions, multiple choice, true or false, short answer, right? You'll be required to identify certain aspects of those religions and tell me a little bit about like the discipline of comparative religion, right? Central figures, gods, holy texts, holidays, symbols, normal stuff. Cool. But also, like, what's internal diversity? And how does the evolution of religion work? What's a monotheism, a polytheism, atheism? Right? And, what kind of rights you have, freedom of religion and all, because you're Americans after all. Sweet. So, what's this note sheet I'm talking about? Oh my god. Don't worry, the test isn't live yet. Not for you. So, pop into folder 1, and there it is, right at the top. Sweet. So you go ahead, you open it. The first thing you're going to do, well, there are all these cool directions. They tell you that if you read this, like exactly what to do, which are copy this document so you can edit it, just paste it into your own notes. Title it something that will help you find it. I'm not going to grade you on this. I'm only going to grade your test. And if you did this or something like it, you will ace the test. That's it. Real straightforward. Hell yes. Sweet. Oh, the test is timed, by the way, so if you go ahead, just open it and try to Google everything, you will almost decidedly fail. It's just a lot. Yeah? So, note sheet. Use the thing. Dope. So, here we have name of religion. The name of religion is just like literally what religions are named, right? Zoroastrianism, Judaism, Islam, Christianity, Neo-paganism, Jainism. Right, those all go here. Who founded the religion? About when did that happen? It can be a rough estimate. Sometimes the answer is approximately 6,000 years ago, right? No worries there. Do they have a text? Do they believe in an afterlife? If so, kind of what? Basic beliefs and tenets. And the nice thing about the box is that, well, like you guys all learned from the Enlightenment note sheet, it can get really, really long if you need it to. So sweet. You guys can go ahead, pause me here, and make sure you've got that note sheet open. I'll assume you have it now. Fantastic. All right. Last things last, on that note sheet, if you pop all the way down to the bottom, boop, yeah, you can put your big concepts down here. Rock. That's where things about religious freedom, literacy, the core tenets of the discipline are. Fantastic. So, let's go ahead and talk about religious literacy for a little bit now that you've got that all together. All right. So let's see. Got that. Rock. Next thing. So, religious literacy. Here, let me move me off the thing. Yay. All right. So, religious literacy is a whole actual skill. Right? The Harvard School of Divinity, which, they would know, defines a religiously literate person as a person who, 1, understands the history, central books, when applicable, beliefs, practices, and modern religious expression of the world's religions. 2, they understand that religions grew out of and continue to be shaped by history and culture. Religion doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's very much a part of culture, and it grows and changes over time. All of them do, just like culture does. Sweet. 3rd, they have the ability to discern, decide, gauge, evaluate, judge and explore the religious aspects of politics and society and culture across a time and a place. Don't worry too much about the individual slides. I'm going to put the PowerPoint in that folder too. Sweet. Yeah, there we are, finally. So, here we are. Study versus devotion. So, there's a really big difference between being a scholar of religion and being a religious person. So, religion scholars view all religions as equally legitimate, even though their claims are not the same, right? Like, religiously literate people know that it's appropriate for believers to assert, like, that the big ideas of their theology are correct. Like, that's what they are going to do. They are religious people. It's fine, all right? So that's the thing that you have to clock into your brain, even if you're studying a religion that isn't your own. And often, honestly, the tenets of those faiths are contradictory. They don't overlap. Often. Sometimes they do, but not always. Third up. And on that topic, religions are very, very different in beliefs, practices, and values. Not only are they different in between each other, they're also like internally diverse. And we'll come back to that in the next slide. The next thing that religious scholars know is that religions evolve and change over time. Lastly, religion influences all aspects of culture. Religion is not isolated at all to the private sphere or private contexts. It just isn't. All right, sweet. Next up. So let's talk about those differences, right? Religions are very different in beliefs, practices, and values. At some point in your life, you've probably heard someone say, religions are all basically the same. Yeah? That is one of the falsest things that has ever been uttered. Religions are wildly different all the time. Like, okay, so there's polytheists and monotheists, right? One God, who is the only God, versus a bunch of gods, right? One, more than one. Huge difference, right? Many religions have afterlives, and they're really different kinds of afterlives. Some people have like eternal afterlives. Other people have reincarnation, and it's a cycle. Some religions don't have an afterlife at all. Like, you die and it's over. Third, different religions have different values, and different sins. Like, there are very few universal truths. I mean, like, I can't think of a culture or religion that's like selfishness and greed are great, but basically, like, it has to be real clear, and even then, different values, different cultures. All right. The fun stuff is like different religions have different practices, they have different holidays, they also claim different facts, right? Like, all these religions have various creation stories, and they're all equally legitimate, but they are not capital T truth, like we think of it. So, all right. Let's talk about internal diversity. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to like get off this. Whoop. Hey, I'm moving me around. All right. So there are different sects. Go ahead and write that word down. S-E-C-T-S. A sect, like a section, is a different segment of a faith, right? So here in this cool picture, I have a map of the most populous branches of Christianity in the United States, which is a really fascinating map. All right, so, like, I love this map because it's because it's amazing. So what you'll see is here in the blue, the most populous type of Christianity in the United States as a singular branch is Catholicism. Although there are more Protestants, but there are a lot of different kinds of Protestants. We talked about that a little bit with the Protestant Reformation. We'll talk about it a little more here on Large Faith Day. But, like, you pop down, you're like, oh, it's all this red. Oh, well, that's the Southern Baptists. And, as I'm pretty sure a bunch of you already guessed, this big gray area, Oh, that's the Latter-day Saints. The region is sometimes referred to as the Mormon Belt. Yeah, that's where all the Mormons are from, because, you know, it's Utah, guys. Like, it's Utah. Utah. Very Mormon. Cool. All right. But past that, like past those three, those are just really big ones in the United States, right? There's Eastern Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox Christianity, Ethiopian Orthodox Christianity, Coptic Christianity. Like, there's a lot, right? Oh, by the way, if you wanted me to mispronounce a bunch of words just in front of you on video, this is your unit, my dudes. I had to talk about stuff from all different languages all over the world and mess it up a lot. So, all right. So, there's Vaishnavism, which I believe to be right, Shaivism, Shaktism in Hinduism. All right, there are differences within sects or expression because religious communities function in different social and political contexts, right? Here are three phrases. Pay attention. Write this one down. These three things are not facts. They're something else. You've probably heard like these sort of phrases before. Buddhists are nonviolent, or Christians oppose abortion, or religion and science are incompatible. Those are not facts. Those are what we call theological assertions. And I just realized that this window might not be quite large enough. Oh no. But yeah, you spell that theological assertions. It's down at the bottom. So, theological assertion versus a fact. What that means is that someone says it is true, and inside the context of faith, it's like kind of true, but it's not universal. And that's the important part. All right. Next one up. Religions evolve and change over time. This is the big religion chart, this is the evolutionary tree of religion, which is not quite the big religion chart. Both are in your resource folder. But we'll come back to this chart over time. But it's worth noting that all of these religions evolved out of places. This is listed by region, where religions grew up, and you'll see that they all kind of feed out of each other. Like a really familiar tree is probably the Abrahamic tree right here, where we have Judaism, Islam, Christianity, like Orthodox Christianity, Protestantism is like way up there. It is. And again, I'll get you guys like a large version of the chart if you want to like go look through it. It really is quite fascinating. Next up. Click. No, click for real. Okay. So, religion influences all aspects of culture, and it is not isolated to private contexts, right? These are three news stories that are all from 2017, right? All three of them are religion expressing itself in the public context, right? These three examples all happen to be sad and shitty, but they aren't always, right? But they are all, well, examples of religion not being really specifically private, and why it's really good to know about religion. Next up. Cool. So, this is an old holdover. I know you don't have partners. I know you're all like locked in tiny boxes places. But check it out. Why don't you go ahead, give it a 5-minute timer. I'm not going to press time and then just have you watch me for 5 minutes. That seems completely insane. But go ahead, pause me for a couple of minutes, and go to that cheat sheet list. Just fill in as many as you can. If there's somebody else in the room, hey, have them help you. Right? Can you name, how many different religions can you drop into the names list? Do they have central figures, gods, founders, holy texts, holidays, symbols, places of worship? One notable year, by the way, a whole bunch of children, no kidding, failed the question, where do Muslims worship? Because they didn't know how to spell mosque. They were like, what's a mosque? And I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. But anyway, don't be that kid. Know how to spell mosque and get simple questions right. All right, cool, yeah. Pause me and do the thing. And you're back. Ha! Fantastic. Cool. Next one up. All right. I'm not going to have you do that again on pause, but after this, go ahead. There's a textbook reading directly under this video. And yeah, like what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead, you're going to read through the pages assigned and, well, see what else you can come up with, right? Basically, try and fill in the blanks on your own note-taking sheet. Sometimes you'll fill it in just a little bit and you'll end up with like much more information later, but still worth it. All right. Hey, sweet. There we are at day 2. Well, I will see you in the next video, and good luck with your studies.